Greetings, everyone, and welcome to another Friday Night Live experience of D&D with High School Students presents the Medusas. We, my friends, are in a special place, a holy and sacred place. You may remember that when you left off, you had arrived at the town of Yashirin Mabad, which is a town built around a very prominent monastery and temple to Vusek, and is adjacent to Mukadas Suv, the sacred lake, which is said to be the holiest of sites geographically within Kabul Kailish, and is the most venerated of holy places in the name of Vusek. Now, in our last episode, you had arrived, you found an inn, you met a curious character by the name of, anybody remember?
I wrote it.
Blazu Orc Smasher.
Blazu Orc Smasher. Yes, that's my name. Blazu Orc Smasher. Yes. And Blazu, though small of stature, was quite large apparently in his fame. And you had gotten to know him a little bit. And he did offer his services, claiming to be one of the most powerful wizards in Kabul Kailish. And he gave you a card of his before departing. So you guys went up to your rooms and you were able to acquire rooms and get some rest in. And it feels good to be off the road and in comfortable beds. So everybody got a good night's sleep, no need for rolls. You waken in the morning.
Before that, quickly,
yes.
Before we went to bed, I was going to use my last 3rd level spell to try to heal Bullstrong again.
Oh, that's right. Bullstrong, I will let you make a Constitution saving throw with advantage.
Roll again, hopefully.
Okay.
17 plus your con save.
It's gonna be.
It's in saving throws. Yeah.
That's
So,
gonna be
5 plus 17.
Yeah.
You feel much better.
Good.
You all get a good night's sleep. In the morning, you awaken to sounds from below in the inn. Sounds of people talking, chatting, and smells. Delicious smells of meats and freshly baked bread, and even the strong smell of coffee. And there we are.
Awesome. So what do you guys want to do?
I believe yesterday we had discussed going down to the local temple and talking to them about going to the lake. As we had discussed with Blazu, we are on a pilgrimage, and they'll give us more information there on the rundowns of Mukadas Suv and how exactly it's supposed to be treated, which will give us more information.
So what do y'all think about Blazu?
Point of order, are you discussing this in your rooms, or have you descended downstairs and gotten a table and have you begun breakfast?
Yeah, like a breakfast table.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys go downstairs after you dress, obviously. You notice the innkeeper sees you and is like, right this way, friends, and brings you over to a nice round table that's kind of set off from some of the longer rectangular tables. So you guys have your own table, and serving people begin to bring you food. 2 kids who you assume are the innkeeper's kids bring a loaf of fresh bread that's still warm to the touch, as well as a cup of butter. And they bring you a big bowl of eggs and a slab of ham and a little platter of some fresh fruit. And then they bow and leave you to be. So carry on.
Liking it. So, thoughts on Blazu?
I think he's a phony. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't really trust him too much.
I like him. He seems like a cool guy.
I'll admit his stories are a little boisterous.
They are a bit boisterous. He's a little bit showy, but
What I want to know is if he is like the high wizard guy that he says he is. Does he know the other high wizard guy? Remember that we met, who is like a super shady person?
it's a good question.
You
I
could
st- I
fit the
st-
criteria, probably.
Well, because he says he's like the most high powerful
Mm-hmm.
person, so he would know that guy.
Well, where would we find him? We could try and go find him, figure it out.
He gave us his address.
Oh yeah, he did. We could go
He
there.
gave us his business
His
card.
card.
We could go there.
He has a lot of facial hair for a child. I don't understand. It's confusing.
Have you not encountered dwarfs before?
I mean, one small old man, but I thought it was because he was old.
Point of order. Do you want to check your notes about his race?
Oh, I think it's a gnome, not a dwarf.
Yes.
Good correct.
But anyways, he gave us his address and he told us to bring cherrywood pipe tobacco, and then maybe he'll answer our questions.
So we could do that before we do other things, or we could not. But I'm pretty interested in this guy. He seems like a character. You guys think he's shady, so I think it's a win-win there.
The two options are that he's not who he says he is, and we can expose him, or two, he is who he says he is, and he can give us answers about the other shady wizard guy.
Exactly. Or we just get to hang out with a cool guy.
And I would like to remind everyone the precedent of trying to keep ourselves as discreet as possible here. So if we are going out to town, we should try to get all our tasks done in a timely manner. You said you wanted us to get the pipe, tobacco, whatever, for him so that it's more trustworthy. We have to then go to his address and ask him the questions and come with a friendly manner. And we have to visit the monastery temple and get more information about Mukata Suv.
Yes.
We should go on one of those tours.
Exactly.
I'm thinking of going for a swim.
Well,
I like that. Bad idea, but I like it.
yeah, I get the impression from the last water lady that it is very protected. I do vaguely remember. Can I do like a history check for the history of Mukata Suv and like its I don't know if that would be history or religion.
Well, there's two perspectives. And I'll let you choose. The historical perspective would give you certain information about Mukata Suv. The religion check would give you more of the specific connection to Vusek.
I don't have proficiency in either, so I guess I'll try for religion. Oh, that's a nat 20.
Wow.
Wow.
All right. You remember some things that you had been told. And one of the things that struck out to you the most was that Mukata Suv is considered to actually be a sacred place because it was made by Vusek. The water that flows down from the mountains, in other words, the snowmelt that comes down from the mountains and goes to become in this lake, was somehow imbued with divine energy. And believers, devout believers in Vusek, view the waters of Mukata Suv as actually having divine magical properties, including the ability to heal, the ability to cure diseases, the ability to act as an antitoxin for poisons. And some have even believed that the Mukata Suv itself contains such divine energy that it can bless certain people. Because of your extraordinary check, I will also remind you that you remember that the religious leader of the theocracy of Kabul Kailish is always given a special ceremony when they ascend to their leadership position. And this includes the current leader, His Holiness Kor Paigambar. And to do that, they basically are baptized in Mukata Suv by high priests of Vusek. The baptism of the high leader of the theocracy is the only exception to the rule that you know about people entering Mukata Suv. So no one ever physically goes into the...
All right. I'd like to just relay, I'm sure the group's probably heard of this, but just relay that information back to them, making sure to highlight.
Is basically the monks that inhabit the monastery also act as a security force. And basically they are like the militia that protects Mukata Suv.
All right. So that means, Bullstrong, that I would definitely recommend against going in the water just in front of everyone.
I think we should check out the lake.
Okay.
So what do you guys?
I want to see what security's like.
You guys, you finish your breakfasts and you go back up to your rooms, I assume, and get whatever supplies you deem that you need. And then where do you go first? What do you do first?
Do you want to go lake? And
I guess the
then...
tobacco, we can just pick that up on the way. That should just...
Okay.
Okay. So you guys take a stroll through the town, and there are a lot of people there, a lot of shops, everything's open. It's not as bustling as the city, as the capital city of Poitex Jahar, but there are certainly travelers and merchants. You do see some people who look like they are pilgrims. They're wearing not cloaks and robes like a priest or a monk, but they are wearing these blue shawls, basically, which actually anybody with religion would be able to recognize this without a roll. Typically, when someone's making a pilgrimage to a holy site, to one of the specific elemental gods or goddesses, they wear a shawl of the color. So you do see several people of different races who are wearing a blue, like light blue shawl. But as you make your way through town, you see a wood carved sign out front of a shop, which has like basically a pipe. And you have found a tobacconist.
Okay. So we're looking for cherry wood. That's important.
Okay. Well, you go into the shop, and there's like a nice human woman there, and she greets you and asks what you need. You tell her you're looking for cherry tobacco, and she nods. She goes over to a shelf and opens it up, opens up a drawer and pulls out like a little scooper thing and scoops some into a pouch and ties it with a little twine. And she's like, that would be 5 silver pieces.
Okay, I'll pay for it.
Okay, you do. And there you have it. You leave the shop?
Yeah, let's go find Lazio.
All right. So you look at the card and it has like a number and a street. So you kind of wander around the town unless you want to stop and ask anybody. I'll say that you eventually find it after about 20 minutes. And it's a smaller kind of like, it's not a grand avenue. It's like a smaller kind of side street with small like one-story shops and cottages interspersed, like people's homes. And the cottages have like cute little like front gardens. Some of them have like little herb gardens and vegetable gardens. Some of them are just like ornate like rock things with little pools, like little ponds with goldfish swimming around inside of them. But it looks like a decent neighborhood. And you come to a cottage and it's small. And there's like a little wooden fence. And there's like a wood carved sign of a small in stature person wielding an enormously large like hammer, which it kind of looks like a maul almost. And you see that there's like a little gate in the fence, and then there's this little one-story cottage.
Mine's bigger.
So you guys go into the gate?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay. You go up to the door. The larger people, the Goliaths, as you approach the door, you immediately realize that this door you're gonna like have to stoop down because it's only 4 feet tall. So you go up to this little cottage and there's a wood door. And there's another sign like hanging on the wall adjacent to the wood door. And it looks like it was very nicely and artistically like wood burned into the sign. And it says Blazu Orc Smasher.
I sort of expected something more grand.
Yeah, it seems very humble.
I'll just reach forward and do a nice, polite rap on the wooden door.
Who is it? I'm coming. Give me a moment. And then you hear some like little pitter patter, and the door. You hear like a deadbolt being slid, and then the door opens a little creak, and then you see Blazu's face peer out, and he's like, "Yes, who's there? Oh, my traveling pilgrim friends from last night. I see. Well, I wasn't expecting a visit this morning, but come in. Just give me a moment to tidy up a little bit." He opens the door, and then he starts to walk down a short hallway, and he's like, just wait there one moment. And as he's walking down this short hallway, which is only like 15 feet long, at the end of the hallway, you see there's like an archway that opens up into another room. And inside the other room, you see like shelves from floor to ceiling with books. And he goes over to the archway and he like grabs this red curtain and closes the curtain. And then he comes back to you and he's like, yes, I apologize. I had not had a moment to tidy up my laboratory, but do come into the parlor, please. And he gestures to an adjacent room, like just off to the left of the entrance. Like I said before, anyone who is 6 feet or taller has to like stoop down to come in. But then once you come in, the ceilings are like kind of vaulted, and they go up to about 6.5 feet. So you're still kind of like just barely not skimming the ceiling. But he gestures to basically his front parlor, and you guys go in, and it's very nicely decorated. There's like a settee by the window, and there's like several chairs and a wooden like coffee table. You notice there's like another red curtain beyond that. And he's like, please do have a seat. I will go acquire some tea for us. And he goes and opens that red curtain, and there's like a small kitchen. And you notice that he goes over and he grabs like a kettle and he sets it down, and he opens up the base of like an oven, and you notice he points and fire shoots out of his finger, and it starts the wood on fire, and then he closes it, and then he comes back and he sits down on a smaller chair. It'll only be a few moments for that water to heat up, and then we'll have some tea. So, tell me, what brings you to Blazu's home?
Oh, well, the first being that we actually, on our way here, we wanted to thank you for your warm introduction from yesterday, and we picked up some of the tobacco you had requested. I gestured to Areia.
Oh, really? What a delightful treat. Oh, I do enjoy some pipe. Let me, one moment. He walks over to a small built-in shelving area, and you notice he has an exquisite collection of pipes. And he kind of looks through and he's like, let's see here. Oh, this one. Yes. And he picks up a white pipe, and it looks like it's made of bone. He comes over to you guys and he's like, we will smoke this to celebrate your arrival. This is one of my most special treasured pipes. You see, this pipe is carved from the bone of a dragon. Now, if you look closely, you'll see the intricate carving. Should look rather familiar to you, my two large friends. Do you see it? And he holds it up to you. And both Bullstrong and Areia immediately recognize the style of the carving as that of one of the northern Goliath tribes. It has a very totem look to it, where the front of the pipe, the front of the bowl of the pipe, basically has the face of like a man with like a long, powerful beard, which is one of the many representations of Ayuk. He goes, yes, let us celebrate. Here. He hands the pipe to you. Who has the tobacco?
Areia.
Okay, he hands the pipe to you. He's like, I will let you do the pleasures of packing the pipe, and I will go grab the tea. He scurries off to his kitchen, and he sets up these cups on saucers on a platter, and he brings them out to the table. And you notice that he has like a jar, and he takes the top off, and there's a little silver spoon, and there's tea leaves in there. And then he comes back with the kettle, and he sets that down on like a little wooden hot pad, basically. And he's like, yes. And he scoops tea into everybody's cups, and then he pours the hot water over it and sets it all down. And he's like, yes, a celebration. Did you pack the pipe?
I attempted to. I
Okay.
don't know if that Areia's ever packed a pipe before, but
You figure it out. You grab a pinch, you shove it in there. He's like, yes, thank you. And again, he points with his finger and a little spark of fire shoots out, and he puffs on it, and the pipe starts smoking. And it's very fragrant. You do smell like the fragrant mixture of cherry and tobacco. And he's like, yes, marvelous, marvelous. He's like, would any of you be interested?
I'm good, thank you though.
He passes the pipe over to Bullstrong.
I mean, okay. So
Now then.
I'm gonna hit it as hard as I possibly can.
Oh, well, you have huge, enormous lungs, so you easily pull down the enormous amount of smoke and roll it around in your lungs and in your mouth, and then you exhale it as a massive cloud. And Blazu seems truly impressed. He's like, yes, indeed. You are truly a fine specimen of your tribe. You know, in my earlier days, when I was about, when would that have been? Perhaps 72 years old, I had traveled to the north on a pilgrimage to Parmia, and that is in fact where I came across some of your tribal folk. That pipe that you are smoking right there was a gift to Blazu from the shaman of your tribe for my assistance with some problems they had had with a few giants, if you know what I mean. Yes, indeed. So help yourselves to some tea. He picks up one of the cups and takes a sip. The tea actually tastes pretty good. It's like a good, strong, flavorful tea. You notice there's like a little hint of cinnamon in there and poison. No, I'm just kidding.
You know what else is there? A little hint of?
Oh, yeah.
There's a little hint of.
There's a little hint of vanilla Coke Zero. Breakfast of champions. So Blazu enjoys a few sips of his tea and then takes the pipe back from Bullstrong and puffs on it a few times and rolls the smoke around in his mouth and exhales gently through his nose. So, friends, tell me, what can Blazu do for you?
Well, our call here wasn't purely social. We also wanted to ask you a couple of questions. In our travels, we've had met a few folks, some similar to you, and we were wondering if you were familiar with them. I don't quite remember. Areia, do you?
Yeah, you said that you were a high wizard, right?
Yes, indeed. I achieved the rank of High Wizard at the very early age of 52 years old. It was one of the most noteworthy events at the time. Nowadays, of course, the Academy has lowered their standards quite significantly, and they are letting any young lad or lass who has a modicum of magic attain higher ranks. But in the old days, I'll tell you, we had to earn it. I had to go and harvest purple lotus flower from the hillsides of the Lord of the Giants and bring back that material component for the Archwizard before I could be raised a rank. Nowadays, they just have the students take these tests and cast spells within the confines of the laboratory. No challenge, I say. No, not like the good old days.
So you also said that you're familiar with the king, or that you're close with the king?
Well, I was much closer with the prior holiness before Kor Paigambar ascended. Yes. But I do know, and I have been in the court of Kor Paigambar, yes.
Okay, so are you familiar with another high wizard from the court? Human man? We didn't get his name, but...
Younger? Older?
Not sure.
Did he have white hair?
Can I make a check to see if I remember?
You can make an intelligence check to see if you remember.
Can we all do that?
Sure.
Awesome.
What are we doing?
Intelligence.
15?
14.
Oh, not good.
22.
Oh, that's good enough. All right, so Magnus, your recollection of the High Wizard was something akin to brown hair with some streaks of gray and a brown pointed beard that was like gray along the tips.
Okay. I relay this to everyone else and tell Blazu he didn't have white hair exactly, but it was brown with a little bit of gray in it.
Ah, well, probably not a true archwizard then. Most likely some sort of counselor sent from the academy to provide arcane knowledge and background information for the theocracy. This is a typical practice. Usually a post is assigned for a period of 4 years, sometimes extended to 6 years before they rotate it to another wizard.
So do you know him?
I do not recall a human of the description you have named. But as I mentioned, he could be someone newer to the post. The former master of the court chambers, he was a friend of mine for a number of years. But that would have been, well, let's see, the last time would have been about 8 years ago. So I don't think that it's the same man.
Thank you anyways.
Indeed. So, you have come to pay homage to Vusek, I assume. Are you going to be going to one of the rites to be celebrated today, or have you made appointments?
Would you happen to know where I could get some of the juice from the lake?
You mean for blessings? Yes,
Yes, I'm terribly plagued.
Yes, well, I would begin by going to the temple and try to see if you can make an appointment. I would assume that all of the morning rituals are already full of pilgrims, but you might be able to get into either the afternoon or the evening rituals. And the priests there will take note of any ailments and prayer requests that you have and include them in the rituals. All are welcome. Although I will tell you, friends, since you are newcomers to Yashira and Mabad, it is customary to make a donation to the temple when you attend one of the rites. This helps support the monastery. And as etiquette would have it, usually a 1 silver piece donation per person is sufficient. Of course, if you are a devotee of Vusek, it might be wise to perhaps donate a little bit more, and you will find that your donations get you a lot further with the priests if they see how much money you donate. Yes. Yes, he takes a couple more puffs off his pipe.
Thank you for that information. It's very useful.
Of course. I sometimes miss my old traveling days, the days of adventure before I settled down, but I am old now and have seen over 100 years of life. I consider myself blessed. But if I can help younger folk to perhaps be successful in their own adventures, it gives me some bit of happiness, yes.
So you don't adventure at all anymore?
Well, let's just say that I don't seek adventure, although if it comes my way, I'm pretty open-minded. My days of wielding that, though, and you see he points, and over the fireplace, you notice this massive hammer that is double his height. Like, you look at his stature and his physique, and you're like, there's no way that this little dude could have wielded that massive, heavy maul. But it's hanging over his fireplace. Yes, my days of wielding Orc Smasher are quite over, I'm afraid. I'm no longer of the physique to wield it.
Oh, don't be so hard on yourself.
Yeah. You still seem quite impressive.
Well, thank you. Thank you, young man. You are kind. But should the need arise, of course, I would be always up for a little taste of adventure.
Well, if anything comes up, we'll let you know.
Yes, please do. You would seem like quite a fun group to travel with. And though I can't wield Orc Smasher anymore, I would be very useful with my vast stores of knowledge and arcane wisdom to be shared. Yes. Not to mention my numerous spell books, which I'm sure you saw in the library. But nevertheless, my friends, please enjoy some tea. I am going to bring out a special treat. He goes into his kitchen and he comes back immediately with a platter. And on this platter, you notice these small little pastries that have like fruit filling on the top. He's like, these were a gift from one of my neighbors. Such a good neighborhood we're in here. They are absolutely wonderful. Tasty, sweet, and yet a little bit tart from the fruit. Try one.
I will, thank you.
Okay. It seems like he has about 4 different kinds. There's like a blueberry, there's like an apricot, there's like a little apple cinnamon one, and then there's like a peach one.
I'll take a peach one.
Anybody else?
How many cinnamon ones are there?
There are 2 of each.
I'm gonna take all the cinnamon ones.
Okay. You pick up the 2 apple cinnamon ones, and first of all, like, both of them don't even fill your entire hand. Like, these are clearly made for small people and by small people. But you're like, snack. They're like eating cookies for you.
All right.
I did want to pose another question to him, just as a wondering, because like I said, in our travels together, we've come across many a mystery, and we tried to ask the other arch wizard from Kabul Kailash, but he just didn't seem to have answers for us either. Especially some arcane sort of creatures. Are you familiar with the fire-like demon creatures of Deepa?
Oh, the little ones. The Kaiser Iblis.
No, not quite the little ones. These ones, we know those as well, but we encountered much bigger ones.
Oh, I do remember something from long ago. I can't remember the name, though. I would have to look in my library to see if I could find out more, but it does strike a bell. Yes.
Because we had encountered one to which our sorcerer there, pointed Amity, was able to communicate with through some kind of telepathic. He had said his name was Vorsu.
I don't know of any names such as that. No. But I have encountered so many different sorts of creatures and magical beings that the names blur after a while in my old age, but I could consult my library and see what I could find for you if you wish to return later today. Perhaps give me
Sure.
some time to look through the library and see what I could find.
Would
That
you
would be-
also happen to know anything about volcanoes or myths about the mouth of Deepa? That was another mystery that we came across.
Mouth of Deepa, yes. I believe there was a spell that emulated, it was similar to a fireball, but much more potent. And I believe it was called Mouth of Deepa. But again, I will have to check my library to confirm this before having any sort of validity to my recollections, you see.
And not to burden you with all our quandaries, we understand you're...
Oh, no, I welcome it. The company is wonderful. You see, typically I have quite kind neighbors here, but none of them who have any real excitement going on. So, yes, ask away.
We wanted to pose you a question. In our travels, we heard these sort of myths or tales about these sort of stones or gems that would contain the power of the gods. I think they were like some kind of god stone. I wasn't sure if you were familiar with these or the validity of these claims.
I have heard of elemental crystals, yes. Yes. Said to enhance the power of spells cast within those specific spheres of the elements. Yes.
Good to know.
Indeed.
Blazu, I have a question for you.
Sorry, Sonny, you'll have to speak up a little bit louder. I am quite
bet.
old.
Sorry, Blazu. But would you say that your reputation precedes you in this town?
My reputation does precede me usually for residents, of course, of Yashir and Mabad who know me, yes. I am quite well known here. However, I don't know necessarily that I am the stuff of legend. It's possible that people in other cities might not have heard of me, but I have traveled quite a bit in my many years. I do believe that I have a few friends left in the capital, and let's see, a couple of friends in Dariola Shari. I have gone down to the wine festival myself, not this year, but 3 years ago, to visit my old friend and fellow spellcaster. But yes, I would say that I'm pretty well known throughout the region, at least.
Are you on good terms with the temple?
I heard temple.
Oh, sorry, my bad. Are you on good terms with the temple?
Am I on good terms with the temple? Oh,
Yes.
yes. I would say good enough. I cannot profess to be a strongly faithful person in the sense of regularly going to ceremonies, celebrations, and rituals. But I would believe myself to be known there. I do try to make it at least once a month, and of course on special seasonal celebrations. Yes.
Would you be willing to chaperone for us if we ever went to the temple and needed you for, to commerce and like get on good terms with the temple people?
I certainly would. Yes, of course.
All right.
But as I mentioned, if the temple is very welcoming, there are frequently pilgrims who attend. I see no reason why the lot of you couldn't go and offer your respect and a donation and participate in one of the rituals and receive blessings from Mukarasuf. The priests typically do this 3 times a day.
Oh. Yeah.
But of course, you know where I live, so if you need me for any tasks, please don't hesitate to come back. And if I am not home, perchance, you would typically be able to find me at the Silver Moon, the inn where we met last night. I enjoy that. That inn is rather festive usually, and I like to spend time there.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you.
Yes, of course.
Well, I would have to say we appreciate your hospitality, and we do want to make sure we can go along with our day. We have lots of things to do. We'll probably be heading over to the temple to continue our pilgrimage. And if it's all the same to you, would it be all right if we stopped by later to inquire about the research?
Of course. I'll tell you what. Why don't we do this? Give me the afternoon to explore my library and see if I can find any answers for you. And then I will come to the inn. We can have dinner and a few drinks and discuss what I've learned and go from there.
Fantastic. Thank you.
That's great.
Well, he stands up and takes the platter of saucers and teacups back to the kitchen, sets it down, and then he comes back to the room, to the parlor, and he's like, "It has been my pleasure having you as company, and I look forward to seeing you this evening back at the inn." He walks over to the front door and opens it up and stands aside and gestures for you guys.
Thank you for having us. We'll see you later.
Yes.
Bye.
Farewell now. Good blessings to you. He closes the door. So you guys head over to like across the town, basically in the opposite direction back towards the lake. You find yourselves at the temple, which is surrounded by like beautiful landscaping and a variety of different fountains and like pretty like ponds and decorative water features. And you see a lot of people wearing the blue shawls. You also, as you get closer to the temple, see several priests who are wearing full like robes of Vusek.
Do you think we need those? Like the shawls? Is it gonna look suspicious?
It might. What do you guys think?
I mean, I personally feel like I look pretty poor, so.
And we're all big mess of races, so it wouldn't effects?
Yeah, interestingly enough, you see a variety of people. As you get to the temple, there are like almost every race, with the exception of, yeah, you're the only Goliaths, but like there are humans, elves, half elves, gnomes, halflings, dwarves. There's a few tieflings, a gaggle of dragonborn. So you see quite a variety.
Right.
Well, where would we get these robes?
As you were considering this, you notice one of the priestesses who is wearing the full blue robes. She's a dragonborn. She comes over to you, and you see she has like slung across her arm. She has the blue sashes.
Oh,
She like comes up to you and looks at you and is like, "Good day. May the blessings of Vusek be upon you. May I offer you a prayer sash." You
That would be-
notice, by the way, that there's a small clay pot jingling at her side.
okay, I'll drop in a piece of gold and say yes, please.
She's like, blessings of Vusek be upon you, friend elf. She gives you each a sash, shawl. It's like, if you wish to make an appointment to participate in the afternoon ritual, you will see my brother there by the entrance to the temple. He is taking names and prayer requests. She nods to you again and walks over to another group of people.
Thank you.
So you approach the temple.
Mhm.
So the temple is very different architecturally from the temples that you guys saw in the capital. The temples in the capital were very grand and very extravagant. This is more like a church, but how it's decorated is really cool and also very different. There's an archway over the main entrance, and it is decorated with like cobalt blue, like mosaic tiles, like all the way, like intricately, almost like making patterns with the colors. Okay. And then the outside of the building is clearly like brick or stone that had stucco put over it, but the stucco has been painted like a sky blue. So it's very colorful. Unlike the very formal and sterile temples that you saw in the capital, this kind of looks like a big country church, but it's very colorful. So you do see one of the priests, and you see that he has like a ledger and a quill, and he's like, people are in line and they go up to him and they drop like some coins into this box in front of him, and he like listens to them and writes things down, and then they proceed into the temple. And you guys wait in line for a little bit, and then it's your turn. He's like, you would like to take an appointment for the prayers. Would you like any names to be spoken or prayer requests? He looks down at the offering box, and then he looks back up at you.
I drop in a piece of gold.
I'll drop in 3.
Well, may I speak prayers for your names?
Bullstrong.
He writes that down.
Magnus.
Magnus, yes, brothers, welcome. Please feel free to go in. And you?
Oh,
I'll drop in a couple silver pieces.
Yeah.
Capella Rusifel.
He writes that down. And you?
Oh, I'm just observing the temple and structure.
I'll drop in 2 pieces of gold, and I'll say Areia, and this is my friend Amity, and I'll drag him with me.
No.
Okay, as you guys are going in, you hear the priest, like you're like walking past as he nods and thanks you. You're walking past, and the priest is like, and would you like any prayer requests? And you hear a familiar voice say, yes, you can pray for St. John. And you guys turn around and you see Sinjin's like there, and she doesn't look like she's changed. Like, so it's kind of awkward because there's like a massive blood stain on the front of her robe. And then she just like blindly like walks past the priest and like walks up to you guys.
Hi, Sinjin.
Hello.
How are you feeling?
I am well, I suppose.
You suppose?
Yes. Why are we here? What do we seek? She turns and looks to Amity.
I give Amity the eyes like, don't tell Sinjin to do anything.
Yeah, for now, yeah. Okay. I just speak to Sinjin and be like, oh, we are just visiting this temple and exploring it for now. That's all you need to know.
Very well. So Sinjin just falls in line. You guys enter this large building. The interior walls are the base of it is like the exterior, where it's like stuccoed and painted like a light sky blue. But the interior is gorgeously decorated with more mosaic tile work on the floors and on the walls. And the tile work, as you're looking at it, it actually forms like murals, like where the mosaic tile work actually shows like scenes. And it goes all the way around the interior of the church, all the walls, the floors. And each scene seems to be like a vignette of like Vusek doing something. It's like, there's like one where Vusek appears to be like a humanoid walking on like the water of the ocean, and the ocean goes out as far as the eye can see. And then there's another one where like Vusek is like a beautiful female form, but you're not sure if it's like elvish or human, but like standing at a waterfall, and the water's like falling over her, and it almost is like her hair is part of the waterfall. And then there's all these little different like mosaic murals basically that all feature Vusek. People are pouring into these prayer benches. Basically, they're like wooden benches, and you notice everyone like kneeling down on them, and you guys all kind of get situated, and then a group of 4 priests like come out from this front altar area, and they begin like chanting prayers, and each one of the priests chants in like a different language. So you hear Common, but you also hear like Elvish, you hear Dwarvish, you hear Gnomish, and you hear Draconic. So you're like hearing these different prayers in each of these languages, and at certain points, there's like a call, and like people respond. There's like a call in the prayer, and then there's like a response. So if anybody wants to like actively participate in the service, make a religion check to see if you can pick up on like the flow of the rituals.
Okay, I'll try.
I'll try.
Natural 20.
Wow. Bullstrong's on it with his religion.
I'm taking out some skulls and I'm doing some drums.
I got 19.
I got a 16.
You got not nat 20.
I didn't roll.
You didn't roll at all, so you're just, that's fine. You can kind of like hang there. There's plenty of people who are just like reverent but not like saying anything.
Yeah, that's me.
Okay, the rest of you that got above a 15 or 15 or higher,
I think that's literally the rest of us, right?
yeah. So all the rest of you that scored at least a 15, you're able to pick up on kind of the cadence, and you respond. You like kind of follow the cues of the other people, and you kind of respond and stuff. And you notice like the priests are like, you know, going around, and this whole process takes about 45 minutes. After which, like you sense that the the service portion is finishing up. And you notice the 4 priests like line up, and they each have like these ladles, these like large wooden ladles. And the ladles are like very decoratively carved. Like they look very like much like religious depictions. And you notice upon closer inspection that each one of the handles is carved as like a female form from top to bottom. And the ladle is like it's like a large scoop ladle, right? This is like a 4-cup ladle. So they line up, and you notice like as the processional is like leaving the temple, that each row kind of falls in line, and they seem to all be like going outside. And then it gets to your rows. Do you follow along?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay. So you guys follow them, and this processional, like they're chanting and stuff, and everybody's following in a line, and they start walking down the temple grounds, and you could see the lake like unfold before you. It's this beautiful, majestic lake, and like the afternoon sun's kind of glinting off the waters as like the wind is gently blowing across and creating small like waves and ripples. You get down after about a 10-minute walk. And by the way, during this 10-minute processional to the lake, you notice there are periodically like monks, all of whom have the same appearance. They're all wearing these dark blue, like they're not quite robes. They're like, it's like a dark blue poncho with like dark blue pants. So it's almost like a uniform. But each one of the monks, like when the processional gets to wherever they are, like most of them are doing like tasks like, you know, like spiffing up some fountains or like cleaning a statue. And when the processional comes to them, they like stop and stand at attention, and they're like watching everybody in the processional. You guys continue, and you get down to the lake, and you notice there's a beautiful stone like pier basically that like goes out into the lake, about like 50 feet out into the lake, that they walk down. And there's inlaid in the stone is like, again, more of this beautiful like variety of blue mosaics that form intricate kind of patterns and stuff. And the 4 priests go all the way to the end of the pier. And you notice they stop, they turn around, and they face all of you guys. And now you are all kind of lined up on this stone pier with the lake on both sides of you and in front of you. And the priests begin saying more prayers. And then you notice that at a certain point, each of the pairs of priests dip their huge ladles of water into the water. And then they pull them up, and they're holding their ladles, which are full of water. And you notice they start like walking towards the crowd, and everybody in the crowd kind of separates off to each edge. So there's like a middle aisle basically. So you're standing like literally at the edge of this stone pier with the lake behind you and space in front of you. And as each of the priests go by, they like flip up a little bit of water at the people, and like the water splashes on each of the people, and they're saying the prayer names. And you hear like a person's name being said, and you notice that like each priest has like a small like sheaf of paper, and they're like saying the prayer names, and they splash, prayer name, splash, prayer name. So as they get to you guys, it's the same thing. They're like Areia, and you get like splashed by water in the face. Magnus, splash. Capella, splash. Amity, splash. Bullstrong, splash. And you notice they skip St. John, then they just keep walking. And then they get like the other people that were behind St. John, and basically they finish the processional, and then they turn and say like one more prayer in a chant.
Racist.
And then they nod and they bow, and everybody else bows back. And then they walk back up to the temple. And you notice like you hear people begin to like chatter amongst themselves, and you hear some of the pilgrims that were like, oh, that was just as divine as I had always hoped for. Oh, I feel so blessed. And you hear another person that's like, I feel so much better now. And people just seem like genuinely like happy and content, and Everybody starts to walk off the pier and back up the grounds, back up towards the temple.
Are all the priests gone? Did they go inside?
Yeah.
Are there monks around right now?
So you notice like 50 feet up from the pier, there's like a cluster of monks.
But are there any, so there are no monks on the actual pier?
Nope.
Okay, can I walk to the edge of the pier
Yes.
so I'm as close to the middle of the lake? And just for the hell of it, can I cast Detect Magic?
Sure.
Okay.
What's the range on your Detect Magic?
If I'm correct, it's 60 feet. Let me check. Here. Quickly, let me check.
Hello.
Magnus, what do you do?
Yeah, it's 30 feet.
All right, you cast Detect Magic. You sense everything around you, and you do not sense any magic. 30 feet in any direction, including down, and you don't sense any magic.
Okay, so the water's not magic at all.
Okay, anybody else?
I'm very sorry.
Oh,
Did-
sorry.
Did you guys just get like kicked out for a minute?
Karafa, did anybody get kicked out?
I
saw
did.
just you dip for a second.
Oh, okay. My connection's unstable and I missed what happened in the last like 5 minutes. Sorry.
Okay, so basically they blessed everyone with water, and then the priest left and all the people dispersed. Areia went out to the edge of the dock and cast Detect Magic and did not detect any magic all around in the water. Anything else?
Can I do a check to see how I feel after getting splashed on?
Yeah, you don't even need to check. It felt like somebody just splashed water on you. Like it was nice, like cool, refreshing water, but it didn't feel at all like anything is different.
So I still hurt, like from poison?
No, you feel better.
Okay.
Now, when I cast Detect Magic, he didn't light up, did he?
No.
Okay. Did Sinjin light up at all?
No.
Hmm.
The only thing that lit up when you cast your Detect Magic was that tiny little stone that's embedded in the staff that Amity's carrying.
Okay.
Okay, so what do you guys do?
Just while we're standing on the pier, I want to do a quick survey to see the areas around the actual lake. What are basically looking for areas where there might be extra brush or coverings or like covered areas.
Excellent question. So there is basically a descent from the level of where the town is down to the shore of the lake, all the way around the lake. That's about 100-foot long descent. And there's absolutely no vegetation, no trees, no plants, nothing. It's just like grass, and then it goes down to like rocks along the edge of the lake. And that goes for as far as you could see in each direction along the shore.
All right.
Could I talk to Sinjin, like on the side while people are doing all this stuff?
Yes.
I want to be like, first, why didn't they say your name? That's kind of weird for priests to do that.
I believe because I did not give it.
Give what exactly?
My name.
Oh, interesting. But you gave them money for no reason?
No.
And how come you're alive? I mean, we saw you fall from that injury, right there. I point to the injury where she is stabbed. You're like,
I do not know. Should I be dead?
weren't you dead? I mean, we checked.
She looks at Areia, and then she looks back at you.
Yeah.
Sinjin didn't die. She almost died, and then I healed her.
Yeah, last second probably. So that could make sense why. But how'd you find us?
I do not know.
Is it like a void connection with
Perhaps that is it.
Ike?
I awoke and I walked, and I found you.
All right. That's good to know then. All right, that's all.
Totally
Okay.
random thought.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what?
Go
Totally
ahead.
random thought. We should ask Blazu to travel with us.
Well, he would be useful. Why I avoided obviously telling him exactly what we're here for is he seems to have a great devotion in this area, and to admit to him of our original intentions, he may be against that. Which he would have to know if he fully traveled with us. And two, he seems more content here. While we could pose the offer, I do want to make sure we're also balanced. He would be useful, but again, I'm really not sure if his intentions would match with ours.
Mm-hmm.
He likes adventure. He said he wants adventure.
I think we should take care of this first.
Yeah, we'll take care of this
'Cause
first.
if
but I
this
figured
goes
I'd just
south,
say it.
but I think it'll be important if we can get the research, because now that I'm thinking about it, now that I know that this pier stretches out into the middle of the lake, I might be able, if we know enough about the stone that we're looking for, I might be able to sense if it's here or not, which would save us.
Point of clarification, it doesn't stretch out in the middle of the lake. It only goes about 50 feet out into the lake.
Okay. But still, it's better than the edge of the lake, so.
Yeah, it definitely goes out into the lake, unlike anything else you've seen.
Okay, yeah, so now that we know that it goes out into the lake a little bit, if I know what we're looking for very specifically, I might be able to tell if it's even down here. 'Cause
So
it might not be down here.
as you guys are talking, Magnus, you notice with your massive passive perception that you guys are being watched by the monks. They're not walking down towards you, but they're like all staring at you guys because you're the only civilian pilgrims that are still standing on the pier. And rip. Now
Yeah.
Croft has to move all the boxes around.
Oh, rip. Yeah.
Um,
I think we should start walking back.
Yeah, so Magnus tells you that, like, basically, like, they're watching. So you guys start walking back up the hill, and once you pass the monks, they just smile at you, and they're like, they bow, and you proceed back up the hill, and you walk through the grounds, and you're back kind of by the temple. And you get back up to the temple, and basically you see, other people going in and out of the temple, and people who are on the same appointment as you guys that are just kind of like walking around the temple and pleasantly like, sitting down next to some ponds, and some of them are praying, some of them are just kind of just enjoying the grounds.
This is a weird question, but do the monks all have shaved heads too, like Sinjin?
No. And in fact, there's monks of like multiple races. You saw humans, you saw dragonborn, you saw elves. The only thing consistent about the monks is the like dark blue poncho and dark blue pants that they're wearing. And they also weren't wearing shoes. So where do you guys go?
Back to the inn? Aren't we meeting him at the inn?
Well, I mean, you still have a whole afternoon to yourselves.
Oh, okay.
The whole like appointment and the blessings, all that stuff only took like an hour. So you have like several hours before dinner.
Well, I do want to discuss with you guys more in detail about our plan and what you think so far. How, because like you've noticed, but obviously I think we should try to get possibly to our inns or wherever could be more private.
Okay, let's go to our inn.
Okay. Along the way, you guys are walking back towards like the main part of town, and you notice like there's sort of like a plaza that looks like a trade plaza. Like there aren't like brick and mortar stores, but there's like tents and like wagons with people selling things and stuff like that. Bullstrong, make a perception check.
Nine.
9. Okay. Nothing really jumps out at you. Like I said, you notice this seems to be more of like a day trading area where people kind of set up their shops, their tents, their wagons, and there's a variety of different kind of vendors, and it's pretty crowded. There's a lot of people. But unless there's anything that you guys specifically wanted to shop for or look for, you pass by it and continue heading back to the inn. And you guys get back to the inn, and it's pretty quiet. It doesn't seem like there's a lot of people in the main floor of the inn. Like there's a few people at tables playing cards and a couple people at the bar having drinks, but it's pretty quiet. So you guys go up the stairs back to your rooms. And you guys get back to your rooms.
All right. So the first thing I wanted to clarify with you guys, I'm not sure if you noticed, but the area around the lake is barren for almost 100 feet around, and as such, I would be worried. I'm not sure how. Obviously, there's some way, probably during a nighttime with more cover, we're all going to have to come together. We're going to have to try to sneak down this slope with no brush, past these monks, which are obviously very vigilant, and get ourselves into the water and down.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, so are we gonna do this like tonight? And are all of us gonna do this? Or
Well, here my thought is that if we meet with Blazu and he can tell us about this stone, about like what it looks like and what it is, tomorrow I might be able to, like, if we go on another church thing down to the middle of the lake, I might be able to tell if it's like, if we can tell if it's there. Because if it's not there, then we would just be wasting our time. But then after that...
Sorry, do they allow, like, I'm not sure if you're familiar with it or not. Do they allow, like, multiple of these? I thought the point was, like, you come out there and you do it once and that's, like, your blessing.
As far as you guys could tell, there's no limit. It looked like basically if you wanted to go to church 3 times a day, you could.
Yeah, so that's what I'm thinking.
I say we go during when it's like.
Do any of you guys know how to turn invisible?
No.
I can be sneaky though.
Blazu might.
Point of order. Do any of your characters have the map of New Wolf Omai.
I don't think so.
Would an explorer's pack have a map?
No. The
Okay.
map would have been something that you would have had to have earned in-game, because maps are a little more expensive. Like,
No.
good maps that are made by cartographers are a bit more expensive. But you have seen maps of the entire continent. And you know that the lake is huge. That if you walked like 5 miles south along the shoreline, there's no town there.
But I might be able to give us a little bit of a sense. Maybe not the most accurate, but it's better than nothing.
So it's like 1 in the afternoon.
I also wanted to consider kind of what Bullstrong said. Would it be a waste of money? Because I know we're trying to conserve our assets and we already spent so much on the water breathing, but what if we were to try to obtain some kind of invisibility or unsensing?
Yeah. I mean, you could certainly look for that. You would have to go out into the town and see if you could find any kind of shopkeeper, apothecary, potion maker, anything like that, to see if you could find that sort of thing.
Yeah, I feel like that'd be hard. We could try it though.
If worst comes to worst, we could try to ask Blazu, but again, it's rather suspicious to be asking around for invisibility, because, again, why would a normal pilgrim, civilian, etc. really need to be invisible?
So maybe one of us should buy it.
Or we could ask Sinjin.
Oh, you're gonna send your slave to steal things again, huh?
I mean, it worked. I mean,
We might have to distract you, but
I think it's pretty good with this sneaking abilities.
it's either that or we need like a really good reason as to why we would want invisibility.
Well, I mean, Blazu knows that we're adventurers. Like, I think he knows we're not typical pilgrims.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's still, we've known him for 1 day. It's hard to prove our intentions. I don't think he's just gonna be like, oh, well, here's the ability to, be invisible, because even though they have no idea what we're doing with the lake, that's also like a thief's best dream, is to be able to turn invisible, go wherever you want, go to the ladies' room, I don't know, wherever.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's Blazu. It'll be fine.
We know his full intentions now. Like, we just met the guy and,
Someone has to repeat what Andria said.
Oh, sorry. I mean, we met the guy in like a day, so it wouldn't really be... We don't know his intentions, I'm just saying,
Well, I do understand we've only met him for 1 day, but it does seem that he has a really good reputation here, and he still seems to have some kind of, like, holy value. I mean, even the average person, not just priest to that, would understand that it's very taboo to go into the holy lake. Because even if they don't know about the godstones, then we just look like a couple of dirty adventurers just trying to forsake this holy relic.
Fair point. So we could sneak down there or get potions, or those are probably our 2 options.
Nobody else can sneak. I don't know if you're aware of that. If you want to, let's do a little flashback back to the old lady's dungeon when we were trying to sneak into there. I'm not so sneaky, and a little secret for you, I don't think these 2 big lugs are going to be either.
So probably potions. That's what
Unless there's a way, like, I mean, potions are the only form of magic, right? Is there another, like, I don't know how magic works.
Lay on invisibility.
I don't
Like-
think there's anything I can do.
Yeah, there's nothing that I can do with my powers. The only other option I could possibly think would be if somehow we could get Sinjin in the robes of the water monks and have Sinjin sneak it, like, have Sinjin get in there, get an outfit, pretend to be one of the monks, and escort us there.
That's actually kind of awesome. We could probably pull that off.
And
Especially for like if we go to the farther southern part away from town, from a distance it would be a little more subtle, but two things I want to make sure we do. One is that it would probably not just night as an evening like 8 or 9, but like 2 a.m. kind of night.
Yeah.
Like pitch black, where obviously there's still going to be monks there, but less attention in general. Because if we're caught, at least that's a background. Because the last thing that I want to do is to quarrel or even kill the innocent monks of Vusek.
I don't think we'd be killing anybody, but
Well, they'd want to kill us. It's a crime punishable by death.
yeah.
I don't think you can talk your way out of that one, but at least if we have some kind of bare excuse, if somebody can manage to deception them.
I bet Amity could
We could put on a wedding.
put on a wedding.
Yeah.
I like that too.
Capella, can't you use your monsters to, get the keys for us? Maybe, I don't know.
Monsters? What do you mean by monsters?
Maybe that little pointy freak thing.
Are you talking about my hedgehog?
Yeah, that whatever you want to call it. Can't you manipulate it or something? Pull its strings? Do one.
First of all, that is my prized possession. I don't want to hear you talking about monsters when you're the one who is cuddling up to a demon until it flew away from you.
To be fair, Vorsi was pretty cool.
And second of all,
The sky ate him.
I don't understand what the intention is. Oh, do you want me to keep going? I can't just throw him out into the center of the lake. I don't know if you have it in that red head of yours, but hedgehogs don't sink. They float.
Can hedgehogs swim?
Yes. But they
Yes.
mostly, they're buoyant. They float.
That's adorable. I don't think tarantulas do well in water. Just saying before you ask.
I mean, they don't. Sinjin could watch them while, we go down there.
I think we'll need Sinjin with us.
Yeah.
I mean, the pets aside, they can stay in the inn room. I think that's fine. That's not even the point. But I think we should, if we can try to obtain the blue robes in some way, that is a good idea. Or at least, like, the one. So we can go to the southern part of the lake and investigate in some kind of where you might find an invisibility potion. If Sinjin needs to acquire that in such a way, that's not my moral standing, but I'll leave that up to you guys.
Point of order. Is Sinjin in the room with you guys, or did you leave her downstairs in the inn?
She's in the room, right?
Yeah, in the room probably. Yeah.
Okay, then who has proficiency in insight?
Me.
Talking about her like a dog.
I do.
Anybody else?
No.
Go ahead and make an insight check, Jordan.
Okay. 18.
You notice that this entire time, Sinjin has not made any reactions to anything that you've said. And she's kind of like, almost like looks like in a trance. Like you've seen elves when they trance. Like it almost looks like that. Like there's just like a glassy-eyed kind of look staring off into the distance.
Amity, is Sinjin okay?
Sinjin. I nudge Sinjin, like, what are you doing?
I was thinking.
Were you? It seemed you were kind of off.
I was. My mind was elsewhere. I'm sorry. Was there something that you wanted?
No.
What were you thinking about?
Yeah. What Areia said.
I was thinking about the sky.
And the colors?
Yes, the sky is blue.
And
The temple was blue.
Yeah.
And
But the water was not blue. The water was clear.
Yeah.
So why is the temple to the water goddess blue?
well, I'm not sure how they would paint something clear.
Yes, I suppose you're right. And then she like resumes her like trance.
Sinjin is just that one stoner friend.
So it's early afternoon. You guys have discussed this. What do you care to do?
Wait, so are we doing this tonight or not tonight?
I thought tonight we were meeting with Blazu, and then
Well, that's
tomorrow.
like night, but obviously, like if we were going to the lake, that would be like late, like late night, not like dinner time, but like 2 a.m.
Yeah,
when
I
we're
just
probably
mean I think we should prepare a little bit more first.
Okay. And we could go try and find an invisibility potion now.
Okay.
Okay.
Could me and Areia go to like a bookstore where there could be like ingredients book for invisibility potion?
You could look for all of those things. Sure.
Yeah.
So, all right. So you guys leave. Do you like want to ask anyone about shops, or do you just kind of want to wander through the town and see what you can find?
I think that
Wander?
yeah, I don't know how good asking people will do.
Okay. So you guys kind of head out from the inn and start walking down some of the main streets, and you pretty quickly come across an apothecary shop.
All right, let's check it out.
Okay. So you go in. There's a female elf of indeterminate age, and she turns and sees you come into the shop, and she greets you. And she's like, yes, hello, welcome.
Hello.
May I help you?
Magnus.
We're just poking around. Do you have any books for like potion making?
Well, I have quite a few in my personal collection, of course, but none really for sale. I do make potions. Are there any particular potions that you're looking for?
Invisibility potions? Do you have those here?
I don't have any in stock, but I could make them. Those are a little bit more complex, so I don't have them ready. I have a number of other potions here for sale, but invisibility is one that requires a little bit more effort and time. I could probably make one, but again, I do require, because of the costs, a deposit of 50% of the cost to be paid in advance.
How much would that be?
Well, it would be 100 gold in advance, and then I could have the potion ready in about 3 days.
I just give her a look like,
Yes, it's a little bit more complex. If
Could
you
we-
wanted healing potions, I do have those. I also have some antitoxins available here.
could we make it ourselves? Could you like sell us a recipe?
you would need to have the proper equipment to prepare the potion. There's an entire laboratory involved.
Oh.
And quite frankly, it requires quite a bit of skill to have the exact preparations made. Otherwise, the potion might not even work.
I see. Mea culpa. I'm not incredibly well versed in potions.
Oh, no offense taken. I'm just trying to be helpful.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Is it okay if I talk to my friends for a minute?
Of course.
Thank you. So, guys, what are your thoughts?
That's definitely not a viable option. I don't think DIY potions are that viable either.
Well, we do know one person who has a laboratory, right?
Oh.
We could just ask him at the end to see. I mean, even if we're on good enough terms with him, we could ask him to just cast the spell. I'm not sure. I mean, he's such a high wizard if he can cast it on, at least, because I'm not sure even if we were able to find the ingredients to get 6 people invisible, but to see if he would be willing to cast it for us.
Didn't you guys say that would look kind of shady, though?
I mean, we're already looking kind of shady, but in that time, there are a few excuses you could come up with. I mean, I could see somebody wanting to use that in hunting. It would probably be an advantage.
You could say we're monster hunters.
Things of that nature.
Okay. So, probably not gonna buy it. Right? Or we could buy one.
We can't even steal it.
Yeah, because it doesn't even have it. This is a sticky situation. So I'm thinking Blazu. What are you guys thinking?
I'm thinking no on the buying the potion.
Correct.
Okay, then I just turn to the woman elf and say, okay, thank you. Have a nice day.
Very well. Blessings of Usek to you.
To you as well. So, to Blazu's?
Well,
we're
we're gonna meet with him later anyway. We have to give him time to study.
We could find another shop.
But what did you say?
We could find another shop.
We did need to still look for if there was a way either to purchase the blue like poncho things, or
we wouldn't be able to purchase those. Those are just for the monks.
what if we get the supplies? I don't know, like disguises. Don't Magnus. Don't rogues. Isn't that like your thing? Do you like with a disguise or something? Like, do you need a kit, or is that like a skill?
I mean, to like disguise ourselves as monks, we would.
Or at least Sinjin or something. So that
Do you have proficiency in disguise, Magnus? Bottom left corner of your character sheet.
Disguise?
Or like disguise kit.
I don't think so.
Hmm.
Yeah, no. I don't think that's a thing.
Okay.
No. Unfortunately, no. But I mean, we could always make them, or I'm not personally up for stealing usually, but this is kind of a unique circumstance.
I mean, the idea is that they're just passable from a great distance.
What do you guys think?
Well, not really, because we have to walk through a monastery. So we need something that is like the exact outfit.
Yeah, that looks legit.
Well, no. What if like around the border, because there's the more southern part of the lake that isn't located with a monastery. So if we travel around the edge, just passing, and don't go through the monastery, then we would be able to then put on the costume. However, we would approach However, whenever we figure out how we're going to get down this 100-foot travel to then enter the lake.
But don't you think that monks would be guarding like every area on the perimeter of it?
Yeah, that's part of the concern, but that's why we have to try to figure out a way to be less noticeable. But there's still, if I remember, they're not every. I don't know. Could I try to like remember? I'm not sure how many there. I don't think they were like every 10 feet there's a monk, but
you can make an intelligence roll to see if you remember anything else.
yeah, that's a 7.
Nope.
But either way, I don't think there's like that many. But I'm not sure.
I don't know.
The grounds of the temple only went like 100 yards in each direction along the coast from that center stone pier. And the town goes a couple hundred yards in either direction beyond that. Your best guess is that the length of the lake is like 20 miles.
Yeah.
So it occurs to you that if you just walk along the coastline of the lake for a few miles, you won't be anywhere near town.
We should be fine, right?
Well, I mean, I just figured that if it's such a sacred lake, that they would be protecting it from all sides, but
Yeah, I mean they are at all sides, but I don't think they have enough like people that they're not everywhere. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. If it's 20 miles, they're not gonna have enough people to place along the perimeter of the entire lake.
So they're probably more heavier like to the side where people would be populated. But
Yeah.
you are right that they're obviously going to be in the general area, which is why we have to like basically be invisible unless there's like.
So where would we get one of these uniforms?
The only place you've seen them were on the monks. Now, the monastery building is adjacent to the temple. It's on the temple grounds.
I mean, stealing from a temple's kind of a crappy thing to do, but I mean...
We already did it.
Yeah, we did. I'd hate to do it
Sinjin
again.
already did. So.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Do it again, but like...
If we managed to single out like one monk that was like off on their own and we get Sinjin to do it, not kill them, just like take their outfit for a little while.
Oh.
Who would... Do you guys want to do this now?
Yeah, I mean...
We could go do it.
We need to do that, and then we need to talk to our guy, and that's...
Okay.
Right.
So what are you guys going to do?
Let's go steal from a temple.
Okay. So you make your way back through town, and you're kind of passing through different side streets, and you pass back through that plaza. Bullstrong. As you're passing through that plaza, you notice wagons and tents where there are vendors, but you also notice another tent, and it seems familiar to you. It's colorful. It's a large purple tent, and there's a ornate like carriage, like a very fancy looking carriage parked next to it, and 2 horses for the carriage. And you notice there are 2 guards outside of the front entrance of the tent. and they look very familiar.
Yes. So I'm gonna ask everybody, hey guys, can we go over to this tent, please?
Is it about food again? I swear. You want to
No.
eat?
These guys are unjust people.
Sure, let's do
Where
it.
have you met them?
Yes.
When are you ever away from us?
Yes.
As long as you don't trample them with your big feet. Okay.
Let's do it.
We'll approach.
Okay. When you guys get within about 10 feet, you notice that the guards notice Bullstrong. Like, it's obvious. And one of them looks up and he's like, "Oi, you lug. What are you doing here? You following us?"
No. I feel like you are honestly following me.
Right. Like we haven't got better things to do.
Apparently not.
Is this your group of friends? Are they as dumb as you?
Yes.
Excuse me?
Man, what's this?
Hold up.
What you got against us, my dude?
I've got business with anyone who comes this close. So don't come no closer. Otherwise, I'll have to stick you with this spear.
Listen, I don't know what kind of business you had with big guy over here or where he knows you from, but I don't take kindly to people threatening me and my party.
Well, would you look at the mouth on that one? And he looks over at the other guard, and the other guard shakes his head, and he's like, "That one's a real piece of work, ain't she?"
Hey,
Right.
What's so important that you're hiding behind that tent?
It's not none of your business.
I use thaumaturgy and I do a gust of wind to open the flaps of the tent and see what I see inside.
All right.
I don't move
Gust
from
of
where
wind
I'm standing.
blows on the tent flaps, and the tent flaps blow open, and very briefly, you
Mhm.
see like a ornate, like, imagine like an ornate like pillow fort inside of a tent. There's like
Uh-huh.
there's like silk blankets laid out, and there's like huge pillows, and you see like ever so slightly, you see the like the appearance of like a very well dressed, like silk robes, like kind of a big corpulent man with like a crown of hair, like curly brown hair, but like bald on top, and like a long mustache that's like waxed out at the tips. And he's wearing like gold necklaces and like gold on every finger, and he's just dripping in like jewels. And you notice like he looks at the flaps and he's like, "Rafe, close those." And then like the flaps close. And the one guard
Huh.
turns and like pulls the flaps closed, and he's like, the other guard, the rude guard, turns and looks at you, and he's like, "Listen, I'm not going to tell you again. Go about your business and don't interrupt the Baron."
Baron what?
"I'm telling you, go about your business, or are you as stupid as that big lug? Hey, lug, where's your big stupid horse? Did you eat it?"
No.
I'd like to think I'm typically a nice guy, but if you keep insulting my friend over here, I can seriously mess you up, so I'd knock it off.
"Rafe, did you hear that? The elf thinks that he can mess me up." Rafe shakes his head. "I don't know, Ollie. I wouldn't get in a fight with this lot." And then you notice when he says that, he actually looks over at Amity. And then
Yeah, if you're gonna roast us all, why don't you say anything about this guy? And I shove Amity's shoulder.
Hey.
Um,
About it.
Rafe says, "Please forgive Ollie's crude language,
Cruise.
but we respectfully ask that you move along. The Baron prefers his privacy."
How about no, because we actually don't care.
Is it an appointment that you're seeking with the Baron?
I'm just wondering, because if Bullstrong says he saw you before, I'm just wondering why a Baron would be traveling in a tent to the Sacred Lake. Just wondering.
Who said
he-
anything about that?
Is he sick?
You notice the rude guy, who you've come to learn his name is Ollie. He seems to be like unhappy that you're asking these questions. You don't even need to make an insight roll. You feel that there's like an undercurrent of tension and aggression, and he seems to be holding it back. Rafe, on the other hand, is like, again, I just want to say apologies for Ollie's crude communication skills, but the Baron requests privacy.
Well, thank you for your respect, Rafe.
You hear from inside of the tent, yes, do that trick again. That's what you hear from inside of the tent.
Can I cast thaumaturgy again and open the flaps again and see what's in there?
Sure.
I'm just really curious now.
Sure. The gust of wind blows the flaps open again. And again, you see the corpulent, very well-dressed, wealthy man. And he's eating grapes, and there's like pillows all around him, and he's kind of like laying on a pillow. And you see just like the bare edge of some movement, like moving around in front of him. And he seems to be like watching this person or whatever, and like eating grapes and like chuckling.
Okay.
And
I'll
you
just
notice
say-
when the gust of wind blows the flaps open, again, like he's like eating grapes, and he like looks and he's like, by the gods, Rafe, close the flaps.
I just say, oh, really windy today. Anyways, we didn't mean to bother you. It's just your friend here was pretty rude to our friend, and
As you're saying that, you notice the tent flaps like kind of open up, and you just see like an eye look out, and then they close real fast. And for the briefest moment, you didn't see the whole face, but you saw like kind of like purplish skin, and the eye like peeked out and then like closed the flaps again. And then you hear like some like murmuring inside of the tent. Like there's some conversation, but you can't quite make out what it is.
Someone want to meet us?
Rafe like looks at you guys, and then he looks back at the tent flaps. Rafe, come in here. Yes, Baron. Rafe opens the tent flaps, like carefully goes in and closes them behind him. And you could see that from the inside, he's like holding the tent flaps behind him. And you hear more like murmuring from inside. Meanwhile, Ollie's sitting outside and just like staring all of you guys down and like squeezing the handle of his spear, like white knuckle.
So, Bullstrong, what's the deal with these guys?
You're saying this right in front of them. You're like 10 feet away.
I softly say, Bullstrong, what's the deal with these guys?
I loudly say that these guys were very rude to my horse.
That's true.
And then I'm going to storm off, but actually go towards behind the tent.
Okay.
okay, I turn to the angry Ollie, the angry one, and I just say, you seem to be like really angry, like really worked up about something. I understand that we're like bothering you, but like your friend here is pretty chill. You just seem extra upset about something.
I take my job seriously. The Baron says he doesn't want any interruptions. That means he don't want any interruptions. As he's saying this, the tent flaps open and Rafe comes out and he closes the tent flaps behind him and he whispers something into Oli's ear. And you notice like Oli's demeanor go from like angry to like he seems to chill a little bit more. And Rafe is like, the Baron has invited you in. And he points to Amity.
Must I do these conversations? And then I was like, all right, let's go. Like,
He opens the tent flap for you.
mhm.
You go in, and it's just this tent, and on the floor are multiple like silk sheafs of like fabric, and there's pillows, like huge fluffy pillows all around.
Mhm.
And you notice there's like a platter of like fresh fruit and cheese and cold cuts, and there's like several bottles of wine.
Mhm.
And when you go in, you see this corpulent, large man with basically very loose-fitting silks. And he looks at you and he's like, well, what is your name?
Oh, I am Amity.
Hmm.
That's what I go by. So,
And where do you come from?
you know, just close to Mantirum area.
Answer me, boy. Truthfully. What family do you come from? I am a baron, mind you.
I have what I know. So I'm from Mantirum. That is it.
Indeed.
Mm-hmm.
Well, wait outside. I must think about this.
All right.
He snaps his fingers. Rafe opens the tent flaps. You come back outside. And as you come back outside, all of you guys hear the loudest fart come from Amity that you have ever heard in your life. It is the loudest fart. Like you could hear it from 10 feet away. And then you smell something. And Amity, you kind of feel something like you're on your backside.
Uh-huh. Well, hey.
And you look back and you're like, and you basically, there's like crap. There's crap in the back of your pants. Like you crap yourself.
Amity, you
Can we have one
guys-
D&D with high school students without shit?
You guys are 5 feet away from him and the smell hits you like a old baby diaper. You're like, oh. And like the two guards start laughing. They're like, he crapped his pants.
That's
No.
a pretty funny trick. Did the purple guy do that?
I think
Rafe
so.
looks at you and is like, what purple guy?
The one who's looking at us through the tent.
Go ahead and roll insight.
Get this guy. Come on.
14.
Yeah, you feel like he definitely knows what you're talking about.
Amity, did you see a purple guy in there?
Would I seen it?
You didn't see any purple guy in there. You just saw a bunch of pillows.
That's weird. I feel like
Yeah.
if you guys are going to play pranks on us, you could at least show yourself.
Pause. Smash cut. Bullstrong. As you stormed off, you walked like 25 feet away, and then you ducked behind like another vendor tent, and then you circled back around. You're at the back of the tent right now.
Yes.
What do you do?
So I'm going to use my axe and try to very nicely and quietly cut open a nice slit in the tent to look in.
Okay. I'll let you make a stealth check.
Oh yeah. Let's see if the Goliath Barbarian passes the stealth check.
You can do it.
All right. You can do it. I believe in you.
That's a 9.
Okay. You successfully cut a small slit in the back of the tent.
All right, now I'm gonna try. I don't know exactly how I would go about doing this, but I'm gonna just very slightly open it so that I can peek in and try to get like an actual visual of what's going on inside.
Okay, so you kind of lean down, and you kind of peek in, and you see the man who you presume is the Baron, like the big silk gathered man. And you see someone else kind of in the corner opposite of that person. And you feel like if you peek in a little more, you might be able to see.
All right, I'm gonna peek in a little bit more.
Okay. As you do, are you wearing a helmet?
No,
No?
I mean,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah,
no.
but Bullstrong's not. All right, so as you peek in, you see a shower of sparks shooting out towards you.
So, gonna try to roll away from this.
Make a dex save.
Okay.
You can do it. Oh, this
Natural
is-
20.
Okay, you roll away just in time.
You're lucky.
And you hear laughter from inside of the tent. You hear the sound of the Baron like, oh, yes, well done. Well, do another one. So, meanwhile, you guys out in front of the tent, Areia, you had just asked about the person that you saw, and he played it off. And then you hear this laugh again of the Baron. And you hear him say like, oh, yes, do another one.
Well, if there's nobody in there, then your Baron must just be messed up in the head, huh? Talking to himself?
Rafe seems to be like looking up, searching for an answer. He's like, yes. And he looks at Oli, and Oli's like, and then you notice that the tent door opens up again. And this time, it seems like somebody else has peed themselves. You smell the strong smell of urine coming from Capella. And you see like an enormous like stream of wet all over her pants. And the smell of urine is very strong.
Cool.
I
And
am
the guards
so
the
mad.
guards look down, and she's like, ah, she's pissed herself. And they're like laughing. And the tent flaps open up. And this time it's the Baron himself, and he looks out and he's like, ah, well done. And he looks back inside and he's like, good job. You can have a snack now. And he closes the flaps.
So, do you want to level with us and tell us?
That man must be very
Isn't it?
insane.
Do you want some new pants?
Don't talk about it.
Okay. Amity, do you want some new pants? I can run and get you pants.
Also, don't talk about it.
Okie dokie, artichokes.
This is ridiculous. I'm done playing these games.
Right?
I don't care who's in there. I don't care if the king himself is in that tent. I'm not going to be played with like some kind of child.
Let's go in.
I don't think.
Let's go in.
As you say that, you
Kind of
feel the
like-
ground begin to vibrate underneath you guys. Like kind of like a tremor.
Excuse me?
It's probably not a great sign, but let's
The tremors continuing.
Is it getting worse or just continuing?
It's continuing. And it like, you guys feel this like all around you. And in fact, even from the back of the tent, Bullstrong, you feel the ground begin to tremor.
It's not good.
Look at the whole thing.
I walk into the tent.
I don't think the guards are gonna let you in there, Magnus.
Okay. You walk into the tent.
Yep.
You see two barons sitting across from each other. They are identically the same.
Huh.
And both of them look at you at the same time. And one of them says, "What can I do for you, young elf?"
Why you making my friends soil themselves?
You notice the baron that asked you the question looked to the other baron, and the other baron shrugs and points to your shoes.
Oh my god.
What did you step in there? Did you step in horse dung? And you look down at your shoes, and your shoes are covered in horse crap.
I'm gonna seriously beat you guys up if you keep doing this. Like,
And then the other baron is like, "Oh, yes, yes, get your horse crap infested boots out of my tent." Yeah, well done. And he looks to the other baron, and the other baron nods and is like, "Can I have a treat now?" And the one baron is like, "Yes, get out, elf, out of my tent."
no.
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 So what are y'all doing here?
The baron that snapped looks at the other baron and is like, "Come on, do something." And the other baron's like, let me think. "Get out." And when the other baron says "get out," it is scary loud. Like you're shook for a moment because of how it's like 3 times louder than a normal voice. It's almost like as if he had a microphone and a PA system. And all of you guys hear this "get out" from inside of the tent.
I try my best to look not shook and ask them why they're here.
When you stay there and you ask, "Why are you here?" the one baron who snapped is like, "You have let me down once again." And you see he's ignoring you. He reaches under a pillow and you see he grabs a small whip and he whips the other baron. And at that point, when he whips the other baron turns into something else. And you see that the other baron is not the other baron. He is a tiefling, a purple-skinned tiefling. And he's dressed in very shabby clothes that are somewhat clownish, much like a jester. But they're shabby, like they're torn. And he looks very kind of like scrawny and sad and dirty. And the other thing you notice about him is that his horns have been shorn. There's just nubs. He just has 2 nubs of horns, like they've been cut off.
No.
And you see he cowers, and the other baron whips him 2 more times. And he's like, "No snacks for you, fool."
I very loudly yelled, "Knock it off!"
After Magnus yells, I'm gonna come into the tent too.
I want to
Right.
follow Areia as well.
Why? I haven't been in the tent, so I come in. And
So
I
I
say,
went up and try and grab the whip out of his hands.
You notice, all right, so Areia, you're walking in the tent. You notice Oli stop. He basically is like trying to block you. He's like, "That's far enough."
I just grab him by the shoulder and I go,
Okay, strength check. Go ahead.
okay. 19.
You win. Yep. You shove him out of the way and you go into the tent. The Baron looks at both of you now and he's like, "What outrage! What insolence! Who do you think you are?"
I'm Areia. Who are you?
"I am Baron Ozak, and I command you right now to leave my tent. You
What
have
are you the-
insulted
what
my
are you the-
honor with your intrusions.
What are you the Baron of?
I am the Baron of Lower House Kratam."
Oh, okay. Are you sick?
I am not sick.
Then why are you at the Sacred Lake?
I do not have to answer your questions. If I ring this bell, the constabulary will come and imprison you for your insolence.
I mean, you guys kind of started this. We were just wondering who you were.
Can
And
I?
then you had to go mess with everybody.
Magnus. You hear a whisper in your ear. You hear a whisper in your ear, and it's like, you should leave. He is powerful. He will harm you.
Do
And
I know?
you notice while Areia was talking to the Baron, the tiefling who's cowering in the corner that was just whipped, you notice that he was doing this. And you feel like it was his voice that you were hearing in your ear.
So, I'm gonna try to cut that hole that I cut bigger so I can get in.
Okay.
He just rips a hole in the side of the tent.
Pause.
Do I have to roll?
Amity and Capella, what are you doing?
I want to follow in after I don't see Areia immediately come out. And I want to pull Amity with me. Can you come with? This is too much. Look at us. We look like fools.
All right. So just to be clear, Oli is going to try to stop you, and Rafe is going to try to block Amity. So contested strength rolls. They're not using weapons. They're just using basically they're blocking you guys, trying to stop you from going in.
17.
Okay, you win. Amity?
I got 2, but Nat.
Okay, Rafe is preventing you from getting in. So, Capella, you burst in. You see Magnus and Areia, and Aria's arguing with this Baron. And in the corner of the tent, opposite of the Baron, you see this wounded tiefling who's cowering in the corner, but he's covering his mouth. And you notice that he has purple skin and very raggedy kind of jester clothes. And he's got these little nubs where his horns were shorn off.
Okay. Well.
So the Baron is I will warn you once more before I ring this bell. Out of my tent with your insolence.
All right. We'll
Can I
go.
Can I just destroy the bell?
How?
About firebolt.
Magnus, no.
I'll do it. Go ahead.
All right.
Magnus, you're gonna
Yeah,
get us
just do it.
arrested. You're
He's
literally,
gonna blast him in the face.
I'm already walking out of the tent, by the way. I'm out.
I'm
Okay.
getting into the tent.
I'm in the tent.
All right.
Okay. Roll firebolt first.
Okay.
So much.
Oh wait, haha, that's a nat 1.
Okay.
Cool.
You fire, you miss the bell. The bolt hits the edge of the tent just past the Baron. Bullstrong, you tear that rip open and you climb in. To your left, you see a corpulent, silky dressed Baron man that you saw before. To your right, you see a purple-skinned tiefling jester with his horns cut off, cowering in the corner.
So from my position, can I tell if the fancy man can see me?
Yeah, it's pretty obvious. You're huge.
Okay.
And he does not look happy that you just came in, but probably more pressing on his mind is the small fire that is now growing in his tent. This is what happens. He looks at the fire that has started from the firebolt, and it's burning some of the pillows in the tent, and you see panic overcome him, and he looks to the cowering jester tiefling, and he's like, "Trizzle, put it out!" And the tiefling looks up, and he's like, and then you see that the fire snuffs out. And there's still scorch marks from where it burned, but the fire stops. And the little tiefling is like, "Yes, master, it is done."
Upon seeing
we're
the
leaving
tiefling,
now.
yes,
I'm leaving now.
yeah. Well, you're not in the tent. You left the
Okay.
tent.
So Areia, you leave the tent, and
I'm
you
like-
notice that Rafe is holding, he's blocking Amity from coming in, and Oli sees you, and he's like, "What have you done in there?" And he's gripping his spear.
I did not do anything. Listen, we're trying to leave, okay? I just want to make that very clear for the
He's
records.
standing aside. He's like, "Move out of the way." And he starts to barge in. All right, back to Capella. So what did you say before that?
Upon seeing the tiefling do the magic and making the connection that this tiefling is doing magic, I want to attempt to tackle the tiefling just out of I am upset that I'm peed on.
No,
Okay.
don't tackle the tiefling.
Tackling the tiefling.
I'm going to have you make an initiative check. So the people in the tent, which are Magnus, Capella, and Bullstrong, make an initiative check.
15.
8.
Bullstrong has 4.
Okay.
We're about to all
So-
get imprisoned and killed.
I'm too mad I'm peed on.
Capella, you get to go first. You're going to grapple the tiefling.
Yes.
Okay. Make your grapple check.
That just- 16.
He beat you.
Wow.
So basically it's like this. You go to grapple him and he's so like nimble that he kind of like rolls, he like gesture rolls out of the way and then like goes to the other corner and laughs and he's like, "Hey, don't hurt Strizzle, don't hurt us." And then who was up after that? Magnus?
I think so.
Okay.
So where's the whip and where's the bell?
So the whip, the Baron set the whip down when he picked up the bell. So he's still holding the bell. And it looks like he's about to ring it.
So can I hit the whip and the bell at the same time, or do I just have to aim at one?
What are you using?
Let's go firebolt again, because that worked out well last
If you
time.
aim at the bell, you're just gonna hit him, and you're gonna.
I mean, is that a horrible thing?
The bell's on fire.
Maybe you should just get the
So
bell.
one thing you could do is, I mean, you could try the firebolt, but you are also pretty good with a blade, right?
Yes.
You could try to use your rapier to slap his hand to disarm him of the bell.
Actually, I'm pretty stealthy. Can I just like take it?
I mean, you could just take it. You can make a check, make a dex check, and see if you can grab it away from him. It's
Okay.
basically a dexterity grapple to see if you could snatch it out of his hands.
Come on.
It's not quite sleight of hand, but you can add your proficiency bonus and your dex bonus.
Okay, so that's 22.
Yeah, that's more than good enough.
Nice.
You were like, and you like do a super fast grab, and he's like, "What?" Okay, Bullstrong, you're up.
So I'm gonna look over to the tiefling slave and then kind of point at the big hole I made. And hope for a response.
I'll let you make an insight check.
16 plus. Do you have a bonus?
17.
Oh. You notice something in his eyes and in his facial expression. You feel like he knows that you're pointing to an escape route, and there's like a certain amount of gratitude in his eyes, but at the same time, a very deep sadness. And he just sits there. He like nods at you, but he stays where he is.
Wow.
All right.
That's so sad.
And now the Baron. The Baron grabs his whip, having lost his bell, and he whips Magnus, but he misses.
Yeah. Take that.
Outside, Amity, are you still trying to get past the guards?
I, intuitively listen to Areia and be like, I guess it's everyone in there. Might as well just like cool down, practice my cooling down method.
Okay. You notice that Sinjin is standing next to you, but has not intervened in any way.
Mm-hmm.
She's basically observing everything.
Could I ask her to like pull everyone out, just like get them out, like it's done for, like we have to go, like I'm tired of this.
She moves in. Capella, make a strength check.
Like with my stats or just in general?
Yeah, with Capella's stats.
21.
Oh my. You feel someone tugging on you, pulling you back out of the tent, and you see it's Sinjin, and she's like trying to pull you out of the tent.
Get off me.
Top of the order. All right, so Areia, you're outside still.
Yeah.
And you notice Oli, the guard, he's not like messing with you, but he looks at the tent flaps and he's like waiting.
I guess I'll just say, just leave them be, okay? We're gonna take care of this. No, we don't want anyone to get hurt, okay?
Make
And
a
then
persuasion check.
9.
He seems very uncertain. All right, Capella.
I'm gonna
go
head
ahead.
back. I'm gonna just go back towards the tent. Then, if I hear all this going down, I'm like, good God! So I just go back.
Capella, you're up.
Well,
Sinjin's trying to like pull you out of the tent.
Sinjin, I want to get away from the door, like,
Okay.
just as that, and I don't want to attack the tiefling with like weapons. I don't think I would pull a weapon, but just like barehandedly.
Grapple or unarmed strike?
I think I'm gonna try the grapple one more time.
Okay, go ahead.
9.
You actually get him. You like grab him in like a arm lock.
Good.
This poor dude.
Why are you beating the shit out of a guy who didn't do anything?
He made me pee.
But not of his own will, man.
Yeah, he didn't want to.
Okay, no more discussion. You're up next, Magnus. What do? You see Capella grab the tiefling in an arm lock.
I tell him, okay.
And by the way, the Baron is like going back for another round with the whip.
First of all, I say let go of the tiefling. Second of all, I try and snag the whip.
Okay, go ahead. Make a snatch.
So Dex?
Yeah, basically it's like sleight of hand, even though you're not trying to be sneaky.
So should I use sleight of hand or?
I wouldn't give you expertise in it. I would just say you can add your Dex bonus and regular proficiency bonus
Okay.
to your roll.
That's a 24.
That's more than good enough. Now you have the bell and the whip.
Cool.
He's not happy. You can see the expression on his face is one of great unhappiness. All right, Bullstrong, you're up.
So being confused from the tiefling not wanting to be free, I'm going to go tackle the Baron.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay.
It's a tackle tent.
Make your grapple.
Sure. It's just.
Yeah. I'm sure that whatever you have is better because he rolled a 4 and he has a -1 to strength.
18.
Yeah, you just jump on him, and he's like, ah, and you have him in like a massive hold. Back to outside. You see, actually, what you hear is the ah of the Fat Baron, and when the guards hear that, they go from like patiently waiting to like going into the tent. So both Oli and Rafe like
Can I
go
try to
forward into the tent.
stop one of them?
Yes. How?
Yeah. I'm just gonna grab him.
Okay, make a grapple.
Grapple.
That's a 9.
That does not beat Oli's 20 that I just rolled. So
Yeah.
he blows past you.
Okay.
Amity.
What should we do? Like, it's getting out of hand.
We need everyone to stop. Why are we even doing this? I understand messing with them, but now we're just like full on beating the shit out of all of them. So I think maybe we should just stop.
I don't mind, because, vengeance and that, but I don't know. We can't really stop at this point. It's getting out of hand. Might as well join in,
No. You do understand that they're gonna call the guards and we're all gonna be arrested.
if they're not alive to call the guards.
Okay, awesome. So next up, the Baron yells. He's like, "Constables! Constables!" And you see when he does this, the jester tiefling is like rocking back and forth with his hands over his ears, and he goes, "No, no, no, bad things will happen. No." You're up, Capella.
So, do I still have this?
Yeah, he's immobilized. You have him in a lock.
All right, I want to. I don't know if I would need to attempt to like tie him up first, but I want to make him leave the tent with me.
Okay,
out of like that back rip.
You pick him up and go out the back rip, which is wise because as you're doing that, you see the two guards like burst through the tent flaps. Now they're not looking at you; they're looking at the big Goliath that is currently on top of the Baron. So you flee out the back rip.
Yes.
With the jester in tow.
Yeah, we're.
Okay, Magnus, you see this happen. Two guards are heading towards where Bullstrong and the Baron are, and you're in their way. So what do you want to do?
Run, Magnus, run.
Can I stop them?
Sure. How?
It's a good question. I don't want to kill them.
Okay.
But I'm definitely not strong enough to grapple them.
Okay. So what do you want to do?
Can I distract them?
I could let you make a deception roll to distract them. Sure.
Yeah.
Go
I'm
ahead.
gonna do that. Yeah. Well, that sucked. That's an 8.
That's okay. They rolled really well anyway. They are going to brush past you with their spears, and they're heading towards the Baron.
Well, I tried.
Do you want to move? You still have a move or a bonus action.
I don't want to leave Bullstrong here, but there's nothing I can do, so I'll just run out of the tent with the bell and the whip.
Okay. Do you go out through the front flaps where they just came in, or do you go out the back rip?
Back rip.
Okay, so you follow Capella. All right, Bullstrong, you have the Baron in a total body lock, but over your shoulder, in your peripheral vision, you see the two guards coming towards you.
Okay, so while holding him in a lock, I'm just gonna say, all I want is an apology.
I'm going to let you make an intimidation roll because that sounds awesome.
Let's see what's it gonna be. +4. 21.
Huzzah to the tipper. You basically, like, while holding the Baron, you say this, and the guards like stop dead in their tracks, and they're like waiting, and they're looking at the Baron, and they're like looking around the rest of the room, and looking at St. John, and the Baron is like, I am quite sorry for insulting your honor. Apologize to him now, fools. And both of the guards are like, we're sorry. We're sorry. Sorry.
All right, I'll let him go.
All right, you let him go. The Baron like brushes himself off, and he like leans back away from you. He looks slightly scared. And he looks at the guards, and the guards look at him, and then everybody's looking at you. Back to the outside. Amity, you and Areia are outside. You're out front. You hear a bunch of sorries from inside of the tent. Like several voices saying sorry.
I'm like, Areia, do you hear that? I think.
Yes, and part of me feels like they might have this under control. And I take Amity and I say, let's go around to the back.
Where's St. John, by the way?
St. John's in the tent, but you see St. John back out of the tent.
Mm-hmm.
And she turns to you and she's like, they are sorry.
Okay, let's go away from the front.
Mm-hmm.
St. John follows you?
Yeah.
Okay. Capella, you are behind the tent and you're holding the tiefling, and the tiefling looks up at you and he smiles like a nice, kind smile.
Really confused. Did I hear like the?
You heard the sorries, yeah, and you see Magnus like coming out of the tent right behind you, and Magnus, you see Capella's like holding the tiefling, and the tiefling's not like resisting or anything, and he's just like looking up and smiling at her.
I think I'm just gonna look back to Magnus and be like, follow my lead, and we're gonna kind of quickly sneak around the backs of the tents to try to get as far away from this tent as possible and try to sneak him back to the main.
You guys both move. Bullstrong, you are now the only person in the tent with the Baron and the two guards.
Okay, I'm just gonna back up slowly towards the little slit I made and just tip my hat I'm not wearing and then just slip out the hole.
Okay. No one does anything. They just watch you go out. You go out the front or the back?
The back.
Okay. You go out the rip in the back. And you see like 30 feet down past a bunch of wagons and other tents. You see Capella carrying the tiefling, like kind of over her shoulder, sort of, and Magnus. And then just behind them, you see Areia and Amity and St. John kind of like come into this back alley area and like, look, they see you, they see Capella and Magnus.
So I'm just gonna run towards them.
Okay. So all of you guys are basically running through kind of behind the tents and behind wagons. How far and away do you go, and where do you go?
I want to try to get him back to the inn. But
Okay.
once we're back in the main street, I don't want to have him like this. I'm gonna set him on the ground, but just have an arm around guiding him.
He seems okay with that.
Yeah,
So
I think,
all of you are going back to the inn.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think when we get to the main road, I think we're just gonna like walk the rest of the way like inconspicuous.
Okay. He as you guys are walking, he puts his hand out and like holds hands with you, with like Magnus and Capella.
Oh.
And you notice, by the way, he's not as tall as like Amity. He's like pretty short for a tiefling.
I
So-
asked him if he's okay.
Yes? Trizzle is okay?
Were you his slave?
Trizzle is a servant of the Baron.
Do you want to be our friend?
Yes, Trizzle would like that.
I would like that too. Are you sure you're okay?
Trizzle is okay. Trizzle has taken much worse beatings from the Baron.
I'm
The
so
whip, the whip is not the worst of the beatings.
Great, it's another horn guy. But what happened to the horns? The Amity has way bigger ones. What's up with
May
yours?
I call you Nubs?
My name is Trizzle.
Drizzle?
So what
Trizzle.
happened to your horns, Trizzle?
The Baron shorn them off
Oh.
when Trizzle was young.
How long have you been with him?
A long time. Trizzle was an orphan.
Oh. I'm so sorry, Trizzle. You know you don't deserve this, right?
Elf is kind to say this of Trizzle.
Well, you can stay with us. We're adventurers. We'll keep you safe, hopefully.
Another adoptee.
Trizzle would like this, but the Baron will call us back.
How can he communicate with you?
We are bound to him.
Bound? How so?
Trizzle looks around a little bit paranoidly. And you guys get to the inn. Do you go up to your rooms?
Is what time of day or night is it?
It's 2:30 in the afternoon.
I say we go up to our rooms to talk with Drizzle.
Okay. You get up to your rooms and you notice he's a little bit paranoid as you go into the inn and he looks around and stuff. But once you're up in the room, he seems to be a little more comfortable. And he's like, would you like Trizzle to do tricks?
You don't need to do tricks if you don't want to.
And he seems to think about it. He's like, okay.
So how can the Baron communicate with you? You seem kind of paranoid.
The Baron controls the device. Trizzle cannot ever go far away.
The device?
Yes.
What device is it? Can we see it?
Trizzle pulls up his pant leg, and you notice on his left leg, there's a metal shackle with no chain. The kind of thing they put on prisoners, but there's no chain for it.
Simple amputation.
Would I be able to tell if this is magical or would I need to detect magic?
You could detect magic.
Yeah, I'll cast detect magic.
Yeah. It's magical.
Okay.
You also notice a couple other things that are magical.
Like
Trizzle
what?
has a little pouch, and there's something in the pouch that's also magical.
Okay, I'll say, I can try to help you get this off.
You cannot, kind giant lady. The Baron's magic is powerful. Only the device can remove the spell of binding, and only the Baron knows its word. Whenever he is ready, he will summon me, and Trizzle will disappear.
So with this device, he can call you back, or does he teleport you, or?
Yes, it teleports Trizzle back to the Baron, where the Baron will most assuredly beat us again.
Let's go back to the tent.
Let's not.
The Baron is very powerful. Trizzle's friends must be careful.
Are there more of you?
The Baron is a diplomat. He has great powerful friends in his noble family in the Mantirum.
Trizzle, are there more people like you?
Slaves?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, there are many.
Are they in the tent?
No.
You know where we could find these slaves?
There are many in the Mantirum. Most noble houses have slaves.
Hmm. And do all of them treat you as poorly as...
I have heard of some noble houses that are kind and fair. I would not say the Baron, he looks around again. It's like, I would not say that the Baron is kind or fair. The Baron is cruel. He hurts Trizzle. Trizzle tries very hard to make the Baron laugh and chuckle. But sometimes Trizzle is not smart enough to think of good ideas for fun and tricks, and the Baron becomes impatient and angry.
Could I try maybe my mage hand, perhaps?
Yes, of course, Trizzle uses Mage Hand and Prestidigitation and Minor Illusion and Disguise Self and Thaumaturgy and many other tricks.
So why can't you free yourself if you're that powerful?
The shackle is great power. It is a rare and wondrous item. Trizzle is not that powerful.
I look to Sinjin and I'm like, could you do something about this perhaps? And I point to the...
We have to go get this device.
Sinjin leans forward and looks at Trizzle, looks at the shackle on Trizzle's leg, and then leans back and is like, no, I cannot.
All right.
What about Blazu? He's like really good at magic, right? Maybe he could come up with something.
Who are you saying that to? The group?
Yes.
Okay.
I say we either go to Blazu or the Baron.
Well, the Baron's just going to take him back. That's his property.
But also, he seemed pretty intimidated by Bullstrong, so if we go back and say, like, yo, this big guy's gonna beat the crap out of you if you don't take this off, like, that could work.
They probably already have the guards called. I think we should try Blazu first.
He was only scared because he was in his grasp, but he wasn't too intimidated before. If you bring him back there, already he's probably going to get called back if we don't do something quickly. But if you bring him back there, they're just going to take him back. Even if you wanted to try to purchase him or something, that's much too, out of our... You can't buy him out of something like that. We barely have enough money for potions, let alone something like that. Yeah. If you really want to try to free him, not to be rude, but if that even is on our main agenda, we do have our own lives at stake here and the greater good of our whole continent. But even if you do want to try to take this upon yourselves, then I would suggest trying Blazu. Really, that's our only option. If there's nothing he can come up with, then sorry to say, but this is out of our reach.
And as you finish that sentence, Trizzle looks around at you guys and he's like, you are truly kind folk to care for the suffering of Trizzle. Trizzle is very moved by your kindness. Trizzle will never forget you. And before he even finishes the word you, he blinks out of existence. And that's where we will end this episode of D&D with high school students, the Medusas. Thank you all for watching this most epic of adventures. Join us next week. Thank you for liking, subscribing, and supporting the channel. Take care of yourselves and each other.